Mary Ann, do we know who Mr. Thomas' attorney is?
Let me check. Mohammed Nasser.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Segura, are we ready with Mr. Cifuentes?
Yes, can you just give me like 2 seconds? I'm ready, Judge.
250153FY, State of Michigan versus No Uribe Cifuentes. May I have your appearances?
Good morning, Your Honor. Alyssa Segura with the Neighborhood Defender Service, P86432. I know that there is an interpreter present for Mr. Cifuentes.
Jose Castillo, Spanish interpreter. via
Mr.
Zoom.
Castillo, would you raise your right hand for me, please, sir? Do you
Absolutely.
swear or affirm that you will translate English into Spanish and Spanish into English to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you. Would you have the defendant state his name for me, please?
El defendido, por favor, diga su nombre completo si es tan amable.
Fuentes.
Would you
Your
like me
name,
to-
sir?
¿Cuál es su nombre completo, señor?
Noé Uribe Cifuentes.
How are you
Noé
proceeding,
Uribe
Mr. Segura?
Cifuente. ¿Cómo vamos a proceder, señorita Segura?
Your Honor, I have received full discovery in this matter, so I would like to set this for an in-person preliminary examination.
Su señoría, yo he pedido descubrimiento completo y me gustaría pedir que se hiciera una junta en una reunión en persona.
April 16th at 1 o'clock, Judge.
Abril 16 a la 1 de la tarde, su honoría.
April 16th at 1 p.m. in courtroom number 1.
That
Abril
was,
16 a la 1 de la tarde en el cuarto de la corte número 1. ¿Eso funciona?
Your Honor, if I may address bond.
Did you raise it with Mr. Mohammed?
I did not know.
Give me 1 second to get him in here.
Vamos a ver
Good
acerca de la
morning.
fianza. Preguntó si había hablado con el señor Mohamed acerca de eso. Dijo que todavía no. Todos van a traerlo. ¿Está bien?
Sí, está bien.
Ok.
Mr. Mohammed, my apologies. Mr. Gore wants to address bond for Mr. Fuentes.
Señor Mohamed,
Can I just get one
habla
moment
hablar
to pull up
acerca
the
de la
case,
fianza.
please?
Un momento, déjeme sacar el caso, por favor.
Your Honor, is it okay if I get 1 minute just to pull up the case?
Oh, absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
Señoría, si me da un minuto, por favor, para que pueda yo revisar su caso. Sí, claro, absolutamente.
Mr. Mohammed, did you still need a minute or are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, your argument, Ms. Segura.
Listo. ¿Cuál es su argumento, señor Acra?
Sorry, Judge, I was trying to pull up the exact bond amount, which I
It's
don't have.
10,000, 10%.
Okay, so
La
Your
fianza
Honor,
completa son $10,000, el 10%.
apologies. Your Honor, I would be asking for a personal bond in this matter. I'm gonna
Todavía-
pause every once in a while so Mr. Interpreter can interpret.
I appreciate that. Dice que la está tratando de buscar que la fianza sea una fianza personal para reducirla, para tratar de espaciar más su lenguaje para que el intérprete pueda interpretar.
Sí, está bien.
Mr. Cifuentes has an ICE detainer on him currently, and I would be asking for a personal bond so that he can be released into ICE custody and handle this case along with any immigration proceedings that may take place.
El señor Cifuentes tiene otro cargo pendiente con ICE, entonces una vez que sea liberado con su fianza, él podrá ser entregado a ICE para que él pueda atender los cargos que tenga con ellos pendientes.
Sí, está bien.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
And so, Your Honor, I believe that I have had ICE clients with an ICE detainer on them, and the jail has brought them over, so it wouldn't postpone anything that we have going on here.
Yo tengo casos pendientes con ICE y la cárcel lo ha llevado a ellos y no ha posponido ninguno de los trámites que tenemos que la cárcel tiene con ellos.
Está bien.
That's fine.
Mr. Mohammed,
Señor
Judge,
Mohammed,
the people object. I believe the bond that's set is appropriate based off of the alleged charges, or based off of the charges and the alleged crime. It is a 15-year felony, and therefore I believe the defendant poses a flight risk. Also, there's a ICE detainer, which I don't want to speculate, but if the individual is here illegally, that could be also a potential factor due to the defendant being a flight risk. So based on those circumstances, Judge, I'm going to object.
Su honoría, yo voy a objetar basado en los cargos criminales. Esto tiene una carga de 15 años y él podría considerarse alguna persona que estuviera en riesgo de irse y no presentarse, especialmente por los cargos que tiene con ICE. Tiene una detención de ICE también, entonces basado en eso, él podría ser un riesgo de que no se presentara.
And Your Honor, my only response to that is that he will not be released from custody. He will so any fear of a flight risk or danger to the community would be essentially null at that point because he would be incarcerated by ICE.
Él no sería ninguna persona que estuviera en riesgo de no presentarse porque él continuaría bajo la custodia de ICE, él continuaría encarcelado por ICE.
Okay.
Yes.
anything else, ma'am?
¿Algo más, señora?
That is all.
Eso
Anything
es
else,
todo.
Mr. Mohammed?
No, thank
¿Alguna
you,
otra cosa
Judge.
más, señor Mohammed? No, su honoría.
Your request to amend the bond is denied.
Su requerimiento para enmendar la fianza se ha negado.
Mr. Cifuentes has a felony case pending in another court.
El señor Cifuentes tiene un cargo criminal que está pendiente en otra corte.
The bond recommendation indicates that he's an undocumented non-citizen.
Las recomendaciones de la fianza indica que es un no ciudadano, sin documentos.
He already has a ICE detainer.
Ella tiene una detención por ICE.
And this case appears to have happened very close in time to the felony in another jurisdiction.
Y este caso se ve que pasó cerca en tiempo con otro cargo criminal en una jurisdicción diferente.
Está
The
bien.
court will leave the exam as scheduled.
Y la corte dejará los exámenes como están programados.
Está bien.
Ok.
Anything else, Mr. Mohammed?
No,
¿Alguna
thank
otra
you,
cosa
Judge.
más, señor? Mohamed? No, nada más, pues.
Anything else, Mr. Gura?
¿Alguna otra cosa más?
No,
¿Está
Your
segura?
Honor, the only thing that I would say is that if these cases do get bound over to circuit court, then I will be asking to join them because this case and the other case in Taylor are the same transaction regarding the
Eh,
same motor vehicle.
No, su señoría, lo único que pediría yo, si esto se sigue adelante, yo pediría que los casos se fueran a la corte de circuito porque los dos cargos están conectados uno con otro en lo que se refiere al mismo vehículo.
Está bien, entiendo.
Ok, I understand.
I'm not sure how you join cases from two jurisdictions, but that's a conversation for you and Mr. Mohammed in his office.
Yo no entiendo cómo ustedes juntan dos casos, pero eso es una plática entre tu jurisdicción y el señor Mohammed.
That concludes this matter. Thank you, Mr. Castillo.
Eso concluye esta materia. Muchísimas gracias, señor Castillo. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Marianne,
Yes, ma'am.
would you block some time for this exam? Because of the interpreter, I don't want them in a half-hour block with the second case. So if you have it for an hour with nothing else scheduled,
You got it.
thank you.
Well,
Mr. Jadala,
Good morning, Your Honor.
good morning, sir. First case for you, sir?
Mr. Graham and Mr. Villagraven.
All I heard was Graham, so I'll call that one 25BL00094 A and B. These are State of Michigan versus Zachary Graham. May I have your names for the record, please?
Your Honor, respectfully, Sam Richardala, P 62186, appearing on behalf of Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, please unmute yourself and say your name.
Zachary Graham.
Today is the day and time scheduled for pretrial and pre-hearing. Mr. Jadala, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, at this time, after meeting with the state prosecutor and showing him proof that's been provided to me by Mr. Graham, he's moving to dismiss both matters. We have no objection.
Thank you. Cases are hereby dismissed. Anything else, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further for this matter. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, you're free to go. You have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
To the people who are wearing caps and hoods, take them off. This is court, please, and thank you.
And Your Honor, we're ready on Mr. Villagrana.
I'm sorry, Mr. Who?
Villagrana, Villagrana, Judge.
Thank you. Give me 1 second.
Absolutely.
Five S 44766965 A and B. These are State of Michigan versus Salvador Villagrana. May I have your names for the record, please?
Your Honor, respectfully, Sam Richardala, P 62186, MIDC arraignment counsel appearing on behalf of Mr. Villagrana. Purposes of today's arraignment, we waive formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Villagrana, please say your name.
Salvador Villagrana.
Thank you. Any position regarding bond, Mr. Jadala?
Your Honor, we do have a resolution to this case, but regarding bond, Your Honor, we just respectfully request a personal bond. And hopefully that will be resolved once we put the plea on the record, Judge.
Bond is 1,000 personal. What's the plea?
Mr. Villagrana will be pleading as charged to one count of failing to report the violation basic speed laws being dismissed.
Thank you. Sir, raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. May I put your hand down? Sir, you had the opportunity to discuss this case with Mr. Jadala, and you understand the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes.
And after having that conversation, sir, it's your understanding and agreement that you'll be pleading guilty as charged to failing to report an accident.
Yes, sir.
And sir, you understand that if the court accepts your plea this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind.
Yes,
You will not have the opportunity to produce witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor.
yes,
And sir, you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
yes,
You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
excuse me?
Have you been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
No,
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
yes,
Sir, is it true that on February 13th, 2025, Michigan State Police found you in Van Buren Township and you failed to report an accident?
yes,
Satisfied, Mr. Jadala?
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
Sir, the court accepts your plea of guilty as charged to failing to report the accident. The civil infraction to travel with this case is dismissed. Any comments before fines and costs are assessed, Mr. Jadala?
Your Honor, we just asked for minimal fines and costs. This wasn't an outright denial, Your Honor. It was a technical where the other party did report the accident, and my client went on his way thinking that he met his obligation. And I've just explained to him that both parties are responsible to report the accident. He understands, Your Honor, it won't happen again.
Thank you. The court will impose the following: a fine of $100, cost of $100, $75 mandatory crime victims fee, $50 mandatory state cost, and $20 fund fee. That's $345. Sir, do you need more than 5 days to pay that amount?
mm, no, Your Honor,
No?
no.
5 days to pay will conclude the matter. Anything else, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You're free to go. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Maishan.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have Mr. Felder. He's waiving his exam. When the court is available, of course.
Absolutely. Let me see if somebody else was. Where is Mr. Felder?
He was on the call 2 minutes ago. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can find him.
Thank you. Who is that in custody, Marianne?
That is still Mr. Europe.
We need Ms. Novak out at some point,
Yep.
or
Housley.
Mr. Housley, I think was the other.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm looking for attorneys with their clients so we can get these. Mr. Davis, good morning, sir. Ms. Franulik, did you speak to a prosecutor?
I did. I just came out from the prosecutor. I know it's a different one. We're asking for simply 1 week. They did make the plea
No,
offer.
ma'am. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second to pull the file and call the case.
Okay.
This is 240-664 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Steve Wilkins. May I have your names for the record?
Attorney Kiana Franulik, P73015, on behalf of Mr. Stephen Wilkins, both appearing via Zoom. Mr. Wilkins, please state your name for the record.
Steve Ray Wilkins.
Thank you. Now, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I know this was a new prosecutor, so we didn't have time to go into deep discussion. There was a plea offer that I will discuss with Mr. Wilkins. I'm asking for 1 week because the parties have to be in family circuit court this morning as well. I did let the original prosecutor know that, but I didn't know she wasn't going to be here today. So I'm asking for 1 week or the court's next available date to have an opportunity to go over it fully with Mr. Wilkins. And at that time, it'll either be the plea or setting it for a final trial.
Next week puts us on March the 19th. At what time, Marianne?
At 9:30.
March the 19th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. That will be in person in courtroom number 2 with Judge Oakley. Mr. Wilkins, notice of that new date and time will be mailed to you at the address you verified with court staff. Ms. Franulik, is
Thank
there
you.
anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day. Mr. Wilkins, you're free to go. Have a good day, sir.
Are you too?
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.
Mr. DiMaggio had another matter. When he comes back, I'll get Mr. Housley's case called.
Your Honor, are we done with Cifuentes?
We're done.
Okay, good. And
Thank
I
you.
have Phyllis No, NOE on deck after Mr. Housley.
Thank you. Mr. Housley, I'm just waiting for your attorney to let us know he's back from his other courtroom. Ma'am, that's in the lobby of the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
If there's no place available for you to there's a room over there. There might be someone in it, a Zoom room, so that you don't have to conduct your business in the hallway.
It is a Zoom room. Somebody is in it.
You're welcome. There's space upstairs for some privacy. If you're okay where you are, it's fine with me.
Excuse me. She said there's some space upstairs so I can have privacy. The judge said there's some space upstairs I can have privacy. Okay, come on back. I did not know it was on.
I thought there was someone at the station on the mezzanine so they could open a venue office and put her in, but nobody's answering the phone, Marianne.
I'll try upstairs.
I just did. I'm gonna go out. If I have to go out and open the door for her, I will. I just nobody answered the phone. Give me 1 second.
Good morning.
Mr. Woodyard, your client is up next at the jail.
Okay, and I also, thank you. And I also, Ms. Stewart is on the call. We're scheduled at 10, but we're ready whenever you are on that case as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. DiMaggio, you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
250007 SD, State of Michigan versus Mason Housley. May I have your names for the record, please?
Andrew DiMaggio, P45619, on behalf of Mason Housley. I believe he's still in the Wayne County Jail.
He is. Unmute yourself and state your name for me, please, sir. Mr. Housley?
Hello?
Thank you. State your name for me, please, sir.
Mason Housley.
Thank you. Today's the day and time scheduled for the arraignment in this matter. Mr. DiMaggio.
Yes, the prosecutor, this case is a little complicated. The prosecutor is looking into this case. Possibly it could be dismissed, but he said he needed another week. So I'm asking for a week adjournment.
Court's happy to give you the adjournment, sir, but I'm asking for you to have your client arraigned this morning so we can get him moving.
Okay. That's good.
For purposes of arraignment, sir, what are we doing?
Dan, may we wait for a reading of the information?
Thank you. Mr. Housley, your attorney has waived your right to have the reading of the formal complaint against you. Sir, you have a right to be considered for pretrial release. There is a bond recommendation from the police department indicates that they have no opposition to personal bond. Any position regarding bond, Mr. DiMaggio?
Your Honor, he's still gonna be in the Wayne County Jail for probably at least 6 more weeks, so personal bond would be good, but I don't think it's gonna apply right at this moment.
Well, we'll do our part. There is no reason for anything other than personal bond in this matter. There's nothing being indicated by the police department. Mr. Housley, the court will set your bond at $5,000 personal. In this case, you do not need to post any money. But what you must do is continue to appear as directed by the court until this case is resolved in its entirety. Mr. DiMaggio, you think that a 1-week adjournment would be sufficient?
Yes, that's what the prosecutor said he needed.
We will adjourn 1 week, March the 19th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. That will be by Zoom as long as Mr. Housley is in custody, courtroom number 2 with Chief Judge Oakley. Is there anything else, Mr. DiMaggio?
Nothing further.
Have a good day, sir.
I have one quick question though.
What's your question, sir?
Because of my schedule is jammed up on the 19th, is it possible we could do it on a date close to the 19th, but out a little bit?
This court only does the this docket on Wednesdays. With the Wayne County prosecutors, only Wednesdays in this building. If you want a different Wednesday, I'm happy to put it out to the 26th.
I think that would be better because I need to investigate it, and I just want to keep coming to the court, and I just want to get it resolved. So the 26th would be better.
March the 26th, it will still be at 8:30. It will still be by Zoom in number 2 with Judge Oakley.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. Mr. Woodyard. This is. We have to get him swapped out. Ms. No's in custody, so let's. What was your other case, Mr. Woodyard?
Diamond Stewart.
I just saw her. Thank you. 250210FY, State of Michigan versus Diamond Stewart. May I have your names for the record, please?
Diamond Stewart.
Good morning, Your Honor. Gregory Tush, P859961 for the people.
And Judge Martin, good morning to you and your staff. Michael Woodyard, my P number is 64612, Neighborhood Defender Service. We represent Ms. Stewart.
Thank you. Today is the day and time scheduled for the PCC in this matter. Mr. Woodyard, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we've received paper discovery. Mr. Chorch has sent along digital discovery. We'd like to schedule a preliminary examination.
This court's next available date is April the 16th at
2 o'clock, Judge.
2 p.m. Ms. Stewart, your next court date will be on April the 16th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in person in courtroom number 1.
Okay.
Ma'am, turn your video on for me, please.
All right.
Was there anything else, Mr. Chors?
No, Your Honor, nothing further for the people.
Anything else in this case, Mr. Woodyard?
Judge, just our thanks.
You're welcome. Ms. Stewart, you're free to go. You have a good afternoon. Court staff will mail you notice of that exam date and time.
You too. Take care.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Stewart, I'll call you.
This is 250211FY, State of Michigan versus Phyllis No. May I have your names for the record, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Woodyard, P64612, appearing on behalf of Ms. No. She's in custody. Ms. No, would you say good morning and say your name, please?
Good morning, Phyllis No, NOE.
Good morning, Ms. No. Today is the day and time scheduled for the PCC. Mr. Woodyard, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, I would, I'm still
Just
waiting
so
to get
that-
digital discovery on this case. Mr. Mohammed claims to have sent it today. I haven't reviewed it. I don't know whether you would set a new PCC date or set it for an exam, knowing we may waive. I'll do whatever the court wants.
I'll set which one you prefer, sir.
A new PCC.
How far out do you want it?
Just a week would be fine, Judge.
The PCC will be adjourned over to March the 19th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. That will be by Zoom in courtroom number 2 with Judge Oakley. Is there anything else in this case, Mr. Woodyard?
Your Honor, could you place Ms. No and I into a breakout room? I'd like to talk with her about the bond, and then we may bring it up on the record if you're.
Absolutely. Mary Ann will get you moved into a breakout room.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. This is This is 250062 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Gregory Pugh. May I have your names for the record?
Respect for Your Honor, Samuel Jadala, P6216, appearing on behalf of Mr. Pugh. I'm sorry, Mr. Prosecutor, to interrupt you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Gregory Tush, P85961 for the people.
Mr. Pugh, if you would say your name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Gregory Pugh here.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. Mr. Jadala, today is the day and time scheduled for the pretrial in this matter. How are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we respect for requesting a final pretrial at this time while witnesses must appear.
Your Honor, I would have no objection to a final pretrial being set. I would note that witnesses need not appear for a pretrial hearing, and indeed, as it relates to People versus Morrow, case 214, Michigan Court of Appeals 158, that has held that the failure to appear of a witness at a pretrial hearing or even at trial is not a basis to dismiss a matter.
I'm sorry, 214 Mishap. I'm sorry, Michigan Court of Appeals. What was the second number?
158, Your Honor.
158. You have an objection to the court ordering the complainant to appear at a final pretrial?
Certainly, the court may request the complaining witness to appear at a final pretrial. However, the court would be unable to dismiss the matter as at a pretrial hearing or even on day of trial if the prosecution is able and willing to proceed.
Well, Mr. Chors, respectfully, the court will set it as a final pretrial, ordering the complainant to appear. If the complainant does not appear, you'll take that issue up and make that citation to the judge on that day. At that time, the final pretrial will be set for
March 19th at 8:45.
at 8:45. That will be in person in number 2 with Judge Oakley.
I'm sorry, I meant to say 9:45.
9:45. 9:45 on March the 19th in number 2 with Judge Oakley. Is there anything else in this matter, Mr. Chors?
No, Your Honor, nothing further for the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jadala, I need a moment of your time with Mr. Pugh. He has some outstanding warrants in this court out of the city of Belleville in 25BL00040 and 24BL00025OT. These are both city of Belleville versus Gregory Pugh. The court will recall the warrants, set bond in both matters at $1,000 personal. Mr. Pugh, one is a resisting arrest out of Belleville from January 16, 2025, and the other is a driving while license suspended from February 3rd, 2024. Mary Ann, would you give me a pretrial date for Belleville, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, Mr. Jadala, those case numbers are 25BL00040OM and 24BL00025OT.
And Your Honor, just in case you want to need it on the record, we would waive formal reading, staying mute, and I will discuss these matters further with Mr. Pugh.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Judge.
April 17th at 9:40.
April 17th at 9:40 a.m.
Judge
Mr.
Patton.
Thank you. That will be by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton. Mr. Pugh, did you verify your address this morning with court staff?
Yes, I did.
They'll mail notice to you regarding these misdemeanor cases out of Belleville, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Have a good day, Mr. Pugh. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Miss Maishan, you were with
Mr.
Miss
Felder.
Felder. Mr. Felder?
Yes, Judge, and I spoke with him this morning. He was going to waive his preliminary examination. When I logged on, he was logged on, and then he disappeared, and now he's not returning texts, and his phone is going directly to voicemail. I suspect that he doesn't have enough money on the phone to stay online. Would the court consider setting the matter over for a week?
I'm happy to, Ms. Maishan. The issue is that next week would be in person. That's not an issue for me. I guess I'm just. And he appeared late on Judge Patton's docket previously. I'm just a little concerned in this case.
We could always just schedule it for a preliminary examination, Judge.
Well, his case isn't scheduled till 9:45, right, Ms. Maishan?
True.
If we want to wait a minute, unless you have somewhere else to rush off to, I'll hold the file. Let's see if he logs back on.
Amen. I'm all yours, Judge.
Thank you. Miss Medina and Mr. McDaniel.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is 250060 FY State of Michigan versus Michael McDaniel. May I have your names for the record?
Yes, Crystal Marie Medina on behalf of Mr. McDaniel. Mr. McDaniel, would you please say your name for the record, sir?
What? Oh, Miss Medina, you can't leave your clients in the breakout.
Oh, it's still in the breakout room. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay.
We're both coming out.
Mr. McDaniel, unmute yourself. State your name for me, please, sir.
Michael McDaniel.
Thank you. Ms. Medina, as relates to the felony case, today is the day and time scheduled for the PCC. How are we proceeding?
Your Honor, we had previously adjourned this matter pending digital discovery. We still don't have confirmation, honestly, whether there is any digital discovery. I think Mohammed is going to be following up with regards to that. At this point, we'd like to set it for a preliminary exam, Your Honor. In speaking with my client and Mohammed, we were wondering if April 30th would work for the court.
April 30th. For exam is someone else's docket. I cannot schedule on another judge's docket.
Okay.
My date would be the 23rd of April.
23rd of April. Your Honor, what time are exams scheduled in the court?
On April 16th, there's a 2 o'clock.
April 23rd.
April 23rd, 12:30.
Okay, that's actually that. Is there any way we could do it a little bit earlier? I have a 2 o'clock in Oakland County.
That's the earliest.
Okay. Okay, that should work. I'll make it work.
Ms. Medina, before we do, I want to disclose to you on the record that I'm married to an elected official in Van Buren Township. I make that disclosure as Van Buren Township is the police agency involved in investigating this matter. My husband is not involved in the day-to-day operations of the Public Safety Department. He doesn't know anything about Mr. McDaniel's case. He doesn't even know that it's scheduled. That disclosure having been made, do you need a moment to speak to your client? Or are you prepared to proceed with the scheduling of the exam?
No, Your Honor, I am prepared to proceed with the scheduling. Thank you so much.
The exam is scheduled for April the 23rd at 12:30 p.m. in person, Mr. McDaniel, in courtroom number 1 here at the 34th District Court. Is there anything else as relates to the felony case, Ms. Medina?
No, Your Honor. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Mr. McDaniel also has at 3S4250445 AST, State of Michigan versus Michael McDaniel. This is a driving while license suspended that was scheduled this morning for pretrial. How are we proceeding as relates to this one, Ms. Medina?
I never got anything in
Your Honor,
the.
I was honestly unaware of. Okay, Mr. McDaniel, relax. Your Honor, I was not aware of that matter pending whatsoever. Is there any way we could put it off to that same date, Judge? And I will do my best to have that resolved between now and then.
Absolutely, but Ms. Medina, let's see.
Thank you.
The warrant was recalled when you were here on the 20th with Judge Patton. It was scheduled for pretrial today with a note to set with the felony case, so we will just continue this matter.
Thank you, Judge, and I will make sure to handle that. Thank you so much. Okay, Mr.
Thank you.
McDaniel, we'll talk about it off the record, okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you
day,
so
sir.
much.
You too. Bye.
Take care, Ms. Medina.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Mr. Davis. Nope. Mr. Dover Jackson. This is 250018 SM, State of Michigan versus Richard Dover Jackson. May I have your names for the record, please?
Richard Dover Jackson.
Good morning, Your Honor. May it please this honorable court, Attorney Phyllis Gayton Robinson, P 71733, on behalf of Mr. Dover Jackson. Your Honor, there is an offer to dismiss this matter. There is no complaining witness present.
Case is dismissed. Anything else this morning in this case, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank you, Your
Dover
Honor.
Jackson, you're free to go. You have a great day.
You have a wonderful too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Your Honor, did Mr. Chad Williams check in today? Yet?
I have not seen him.
Oh. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Attorney Goki. She has to hang up her phone.
You gotta leave the room with it then, ma'am, because you're gonna get feedback.
Good morning.
Good morning. First client that you're ready with, please.
Mr. Stewart.
Mr. Stewart.
Clarence Stewart.
This is 250077 FY, State of Michigan versus Clarence Stewart III. May I have your names for the record, please?
Megan Goki, P number 88091 from Neighborhood Defender Service, representing Mr. Stewart.
State your name for me, please, sir.
My name is Clarence Stewart. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Good morning to you. Today is the day and time scheduled for PCC. Ms. Goki, how are we proceeding?
Judge, I just spoke to the APA who said he would offer misdemeanors. So if I could have just a week to confer with my client on that, that would be my request.
That will be March the 19th at
9:45.
Thank you. March the 19th at 9:45. That will be in person in courtroom number 2 with Judge Oakley. Is there anything else in this case, Ms. Goki?
Nope, that will be it.
Mr. Stewart, did you verify your address this morning with court staff?
Yes, I did.
They'll mail notice of this new date and time to you. Your case is adjourned over 1 week to March the 19th at 9:45 a.m. You're free to go, sir. You have a wonderful day.
You too, and thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, everybody. Thank you.
Do you have another, Ms. Goki?
Oh, no, actually, Mr. Davis retained private counsel.
Okay, have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
Mr. Woodyard, do we need to go back on the record for Ms. No?
Could we please, I have a bond argument. I imagine Mr. Mohammed will need to be present also.
Let's see where Mr. Mohammed is. He's with another attorney, but I'm going to interrupt him because Ms. No's in custody status. Give me one moment to get him out. And then I'm going to try to call Mr. Davis's case again. I'll see if he's back. Mr. Mohammed, my apologies. This is the last interruption. This is Mr. Woodyard wanted to address Ms. No's bond, which is currently set at 5,000, 10%. This is 250-211 FY.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mohammed on behalf of the people.
And
Thank you.
good morning, Judge Michael Woodyard, P64612, Neighborhood Defender Service on behalf of Ms. No. Ms. No, say your name.
Phyllis No.
Thank you. What's your request, Mr. Woodyard?
Your Honor, we're going to request if the court would impose a personal recognizance bond. Ms. No is in custody on a $5,000, 10%. She's completely unable to make that bond. It's Ms. No is indigent. I will just recap a quick couple of circumstances. Ms. No has the most pressing is she has an appointment on next Wednesday with Team Wellness. Ms. No was a victim of an assault in December of 2024, and as a result has sustained some pretty substantial trauma, and on her own reached out to Team Wellness to try to help her with that with that issue. They have an intake scheduled in Wednesday. The jail isn't going to take her over there, Judge. She's hoping to get out. She has a place to stay in Detroit, which is away from any allegations that took place in this case. She does have a checkered past in terms of criminal history, Judge. Ms. No tells me she's been in and out of jail for the past 4 years now. But I will indicate that these cases are very important for her to resolve. She recognizes the severity, and she has pledged to me and will to the court that she will be in court and will not engage in any conduct in violation of the law.
Mr. Mohammed.
Judge, the people object to lowering bond. I think we should actually do the opposite and increase the bond based off of the history that I'm observing. I believe the defendant poses a flight risk due to her being a HAB-4 and the charges in this case potentially being enhanced at sentencing. I believe that this defendant poses a danger to the public based off of her previous convictions of operating while intoxicated, third offense notice, which was in Roscommon County. I believe the bond should be increased, not lowered, Your Honor. So the people respectfully object.
Anything else, Mr. Mohammed?
No, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Woodyard?
No, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Woodyard, the court's going to deny your request to amend bond or reduce bond in this matter. Ms. No has a criminal history that goes back more than 20 years. The court has concerns about her reoffending, about her being a threat to public safety and her appearing. We will leave the adjourned PCC to next Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. by Zoom in number 2 with Judge Oakley. That concludes this matter. Ms. No, the court wishes you the absolute best. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nasser, what do you have, sir?
Hey,
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
I'm good. Are you here with Mr. Thomas?
I'm here on Thomas Gardner, and then I have Kayla Collins, which is at 10 o'clock, which myself and the prosecutor have resolved as it relates to Gardner and Armika Thomas. For Thomas, we didn't get the discovery. So
Mr. Nasser, hold on one second. I'm looking for Mr. Oh, there he is. 250208 FY. This is State of Michigan versus Armika Thomas. May I have your names for the record?
Armika Thomas. Good morning, Your Honor, and to your staff. May it please this most honorable court, Mohammed Nasser, P74485, appearing on behalf and with Mr. Armika Thomas, who appears via Zoom, consents to the hearing over Zoom and has already identified himself for the record.
Thank you. Today's the day and time scheduled for PCC. How are we proceeding?
Judge, I'd like a continuance of the PCC. My client would waive the 21-day rule. We're waiting on discovery, and I'll likely be submitting a deviation as well. So I'd like to continue the PCC. I'd ask for 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, that's fine. I was trying to figure out. Okay.
We'll adjourn this matter over 3 weeks, which will put us on April the 2nd.
At 10 o'clock.
At 10 a.m. That will be by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton. Is there anything else in this case, Mr. Mohammed?
Not for us, Judge. Thank you.
No, you're not Mr. Mohammed. Mr. Mohammed, is there anything else?
Not from the people.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Nasser?
Not from defense, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas, court staff will mail you notice of the new date and time, April the 2nd at 10 a.m. in number 3 by Zoom with Judge Patton. Have a good day, sir. Good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Judge, thank you. We also have Robert Garner.
250151 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Robert Garner. May I have your names for the record, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Gregory Tudge, P85961 for the people.
And good morning to your staff. May it please on P744485 appearing on behalf and with Mr. Robert Garner, who appears via Zoom, consents to the hearing over Zoom. Mr. Garner, please state your full name for the record.
Robert Lee Rasan Garner.
Thank you, Mr. Garner. Today is the day and time scheduled
Thank you kindly.
for pretrial. Mr. Nasser, how are we proceeding?
Judge, I believe there are 2 new charges that popped up, or a new charge with is a domestic violence, which actually predates the OWI that we're dealing with. So in light of same, I'd like to get up to speed and kind of seek a global resolution. If I may arraign him on that new charge, or if not, just set that for a pretrial as well.
I called them separately, but do you want them called together? Is that what it is?
If I may.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I believe I made
25007, I'm sorry, 2500079 FD. This is State of Michigan versus Robert Garner.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mohammed on behalf of the people in regards to the OWI case.
Thank you.
And once again, for the record, Judge Mohammed Nasser, P74485, appearing on behalf of Robert Garner.
This case was arraigned back on February 19th. Today is the PCC. How are we proceeding?
What I'd like to do, Judge, we're putting together a deviation for their review as relates to a resolution to the OWI third. So in light of same, I'm requesting a continuance to the PCC. Certainly, I believe we've waived the 14-21-day rule. If we haven't, I would waive that on the record.
How long of an adjournment are you looking for, Mr. Nasser?
Judge, we need to put that into APA Bresnahan, so I'd ask for 30 days.
I'm looking at March the 9th.
April the 9th.
Oh, thank you, Mary Ann.
At 9:15.
April the 9th. April the 9th at 9:15. That will be in number 3 with Judge Patton by Zoom. Mr. Garner, did you verify your address this morning with court staff?
Yes, Your Honor.
Notice of that new date and time will be mailed to you at the address you verified. The pretrial and the domestic violence case, along with the PCC and the felony matter.
Yes, Your
Thank you,
Was
Judge.
there anything else, Mr. Chores?
Your Honor, I believe the domestic violence cases are set for an arraignment on March 26th. Will the arraignment take place today or on April 9th?
I'm showing that both of these cases have already been arraigned by Judge Patton a few weeks ago on February 19th. Unless there's a third case. Judge Patton is showing 250151 SM arraigned on February 19th with bond set at 500 personal. Do you have something different?
I also have 250228 and 250229.
Those cases are not docketed for the day, so I don't even physically have the file.
Thank you. I believe that answers my questions. Is the next date on all cases April 9th?
Well, the two that I called this morning, 250151, the DV case from May the 30th, 2024. The pretrial is April the 9th at 9:15 by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton. 250079 FD, the operating with high VAC and operating while intoxicated and driving while license suspended, the felony case, it's PCC, April the 9th, 2025 at 9:15, again by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton. If there's some effort, if there are these other two outstanding cases, the 250228 and 250229, and they're scheduled for arraignment at some other date, I would suggest that you make the arraigning officer in this court aware of it, so these cases can all travel together, hopefully together or close in time with Judge Patton.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have nothing further for the record.
Anything else, Mr. Nasser?
Not for these cases, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garner, you're free to go. You have a good day. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. You too.
Thank you. This
Judge,
is 250015 FY, State of Michigan versus Kayla Collins. May I have your name for the record?
Good morning, Your Honor. Mohammed on behalf of the people.
and good morning, Your Honor, and to your staff. May it please His Most Honorable Court, Mohammed Nasser, P74485, appearing on behalf of Kayla Collins, who appears via Zoom, consents to the hearing over Zoom. Ms. Collins, please unmute and state your full name for the record.
Kayla Ann Collins.
Thank you. Mr. Nasser, today is a day and time scheduled for PCC. How are we proceeding?
Judge, there's been an offer by the people in which the felony count of the MDOP will be reduced to a misdemeanor count of MDOP. She will be pleading also to the failure to remain at the scene of the accident. That's how we wish to proceed. Is that correct, Ms. Collins?
That's correct.
And Judge, for the record, the plea that was tendered to defense and sent to the court as well is count 1 is being reduced to malicious destruction of personal property more than $200 but less than $1,000. And that's MCL 750.377A1C1. And then in regards to count 2, it's as charged failing to stop after collision. And that's MCL 257.620. And then in regards to the terms and conditions, it's just for a PSI and any restitution for out-of-pocket expenses.
And Judge, I would just add to that, I did speak to the fine prosecutor, Mohammed. Depending upon the amount, we may be requesting a restitution hearing as well.
And there's no objection from the people for defense preserving restitution hearing. They disagree with an amount.
Thank you. Ms. Collins, raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
You may put your hand down. Ma'am, you've had the opportunity to discuss this case with Mr. Nasser. You understand the charges you face and the possible penalties. Ms. Collins, I need you to unmute yourself. There's going to be a series of questions I'm going to ask you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You've had the opportunity to discuss this case with Mr. Nasser, and you understand the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes, ma'am.
And after having that conversation, ma'am, it's your understanding and agreement that you'll be entering a plea of guilty to this morning to the amended count of malicious destruction of property between $200 and less than $1,000.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And to failing to stop after a collision.
Yes.
Ma'am, you understand that if the court accepts your pleas this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind.
Yes.
You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor.
Yes.
And ma'am, you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yep, yes.
You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
No, nope.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it true that on October 7, 2024, in the city of Romulus, you did commit an act of malicious destruction of personal property between $200 and less than $1,000 that you did willfully and maliciously destroy or injure of Ford Fusion, the personal property of Michelle Ann Tubbs.
Yes.
And ma'am, is it also true on that same date and time again in the city of Romulus that you did fail to stop after a collision and that you did drive a Ford F-250 and or a Ford truck upon a public or private property, that being 9555 Middlebelt Road, and collided with another vehicle, and that you did fail to immediately stop said vehicle and notify the owner operator of the collision?
Yes.
Satisfied, Mr. Mohammed?
Yes, Judge.
Satisfied, Mr. Nasser?
Absolutely, Judge, please and thank you.
Ma'am, the court accepts your pleas of guilty to the reduced count of malicious destruction of property, more than $200, less than $1,000, and to guilty as charged to the failure to stop after collision. As indicated by Mr. Mohammed, this matter will be referred to the court's probation department for PSI, and they will schedule the sentencing date. After you meet with probation, they will send a written recommendation to this court regarding your sentence. They will also send a letter to the victim in this case, asking them to supply documentation for any request for restitution or reimbursement. Is there anything else, Mr. Mohammed?
Not from the people. Thank you, Judge.
Anything else, Mr. Nasser?
No, Judge, we thank this honorable court.
Thank you. Ms. Collins, that concludes this matter. You're free to go. You will be contacted by the court's probation department. They will call you and they will send you email. Please respond to their efforts to be in contact and communication with you. You have a good day. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, I'll try this again with you, sir. 250137 FY, State of Michigan versus Sheena Morrow. May I have your names for the record?
Morning, Your Honor. Maurice Davis agreeing with Sheena Morrow, who's present via Zoom. Ms. Morrow, will you state your name?
Sheena Morrow.
Thank you, Ms. Morrow. Today is the day and time scheduled for your arraignment in this felony matter. How are we proceeding with the arraignment, Mr. Davis?
There's our way from the ring and place stand mute.
Ms. Morrow, your attorney has waived your right to have the reading of the formal complaint against you. He's having you stand mute to those charges. You also have a right to be considered for pretrial release. There is a bond recommendation from the prosecution in this matter, asking that your bond be set at $5,000. %. Mr. Davis, your position regarding bond, please.
Your Honor, my client's 40 years old. She's running a couple businesses. She doesn't have any prior criminal history. She's here on time with retained counsel. She promises to appear at all future court dates. She lives in Michigan. She's not going anywhere. A cash bond is not necessary to ensure her appearance at future court dates. So I'm asking the court for a personal bond.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, you're aware that the state's position is that personal bond is the default position. The bond recommendation received from law enforcement does not state a reason why this court should deviate from that default position. There's no indication, no box checked as to why a cash bond would be appropriate in this matter. For that reason, court will set the bond at $5,000 personal. Ms. Morrow, you do not need to post any bond, but what you must do is continue to appear as directed by the court until this case is resolved in its entirety. As for PCC, Mr. Davis.
What's your next available date, Judge?
This court does felony cases every Wednesday. How long do you need? 1, 2, or 3 weeks, sir?
3 weeks.
3 weeks puts us on April the 2nd, 2025 at
10 o'clock.
At 10 a.m. That will be by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton. Ms. Morrow, did you verify your address with court staff this morning?
Yes.
They will mail notice of this April 2nd, 10 a.m. date to you at the address you verified. Again, that's by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton. Is there anything else, Mr. Davis?
No, nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Morrow, you're free to go. You have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. This is 250093 FY, State of Michigan versus Eric Goins. May I have your names for the record?
Good morning, Your Honor. Kathleen Chulaz appearing on behalf of Mr. Goins.
State your name for me, please, sir. Today is the day and time scheduled for PCC. Ms. Tulis, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, I am going to ask for a 3-week adjournment. I am in negotiations with the prosecutor and we're hoping to have a resolution by that time.
PCC will be adjourned over to April the 2nd, 2025 at
10 o'clock.
at 10 a.m. Mr. Goins, did you verify your address with court staff this morning?
I did, Your Honor.
They will mail notice of this new date and time to you at that address, April 2nd, 2025 at 10 a.m. That will be in courtroom number 3 by Zoom again with Judge Patton. Ms. Tulis, is there anything else in this matter?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Mr. Goins, you're free to go. You have a good day. Mr. Page, take your hat off. This is
You too,
court,
Your Honor.
please, and thank you.
Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Maishan, any luck with Mr. Felder?
No, Your Honor.
240949 FY. This is State of Michigan versus Cavante Felder.
Kim Michon, Neighborhood Defender Services, P59167, Your Honor. I have had contact with Mr. Felder this morning. He did sign in to the Zoom hearing. Unfortunately, he is not here now. I cannot explain why. I'm asking the court to graciously adjourn the PCC perhaps to a day where we could Zoom in.
Ms. Mashad, this court's concern is that your client failed to appear for his scheduled exam. Judge Patton indicated that a bench warrant would issue, and then Mr. Felder appeared. This court has concerns about your client's ability or willingness to appear for court. Your indication was that he might not have had money on the phone, but the date's been set. He's failed to appear. Is there any reason why a warrant shouldn't issue for his arrest?
I would just indicate to the court, quite frankly, I would hate to send the resources to try and locate Mr. Felder when I am in communication if his phone were working. We did talk about the case. He is willing to waive his preliminary examination and not impose upon the prosecution to produce those witnesses. It seems like, in my mind, not the best use of very limited resources. I would far prefer for my company to spend our resources in locating Mr. Felder. If you would set it over and have it in person, I would be happy to explain to Mr. Felder the importance and the urgency to appear before the court.
Ms. Maishan, the court will adjourn this case over for 2 weeks. Adjourn the PCC to March the 26th at
9:30.
at 9:30 a.m. That will be in person.
Understood.
And number 2 with Judge Oakley. Court staff will mail notice to Mr. Felder at the address we have. If he fails to appear for another time in this matter,
Understood. He is imposed upon your good graces enough, Judge, and we do appreciate that.
anything else in this matter?
No, thank you so much for your grace, though.
Have a good day, ma'am.
You as well.
Thank you. Mr. Martin, are you ready with something?
Good morning, Judge Martin. I was just checking back in because I do have another client I'm appointed to today. Her name is Tanya Campbell, but I have not been able to get in touch with Miss Campbell. I don't know if she's appeared.
How about I do
Zoom
this
at
like
all
where I
today.
turn off the speakers? Yeah, I got 15 minutes.
So they just wanted to check back in with the court about that case. I will also be there in person in a couple hours, so maybe we can give it till then before we call a KPS.
I'll hold it. If she appears,
you.
I'll let her know that you're looking for her.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't
You're
have a
welcome.
phone number for her. I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. 5S447686 SI, State of Michigan versus Hussein Kassim.
Good morning. I'm sorry, you guys on the record?
I was trying to get your attention. Yes, I'm on the record. How may I help you this morning?
Oh, I apologize. I have Khalil Hussein Kassim.
The case I just called that you didn't respond to? Yes.
I apologize, Judge.
No worries. 5S447686, State of Michigan versus Kassim. Your appearance, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning to your staff, Hassan Hamadi on behalf of Mr. Kassim. Your Honor, we're going to be asking for an adjournment, asking for a formal hearing in this matter.
Marianne.
Ma'am, you have. Give me 1 second. Not on April 16th. You have a 10:45.
April 16th at 10:45 a.m. in person in courtroom number 1 at 34th District Court.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
Nothing further.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. This is 2407988ST, State of Michigan versus Ronald Evans. This case was scheduled for 8:15. It's now 10:09 by this court's clock. Defendants failed to appear. Cases in warrant status. It was previously posted bond will be forfeit. Bond will remain. Warrant will remain. These are 24L563217 A, B, and 3S4293377 ST. These are all state of Michigan versus Nathaniel Jenkins. These cases were scheduled at 8:15 for show cause arraignment pretrial. It is now 10:10 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant has failed to appear again in these matters. There is no one by that name in any of the court's breakouts. No one responding to the call this morning. These cases are on warrant status and will stay that way. This is 241023 FD, State of Michigan versus Shannon Fryover. May I have your names for the record?
Good morning, Your Honor. Sam Bernstein with and on behalf of Ms. Fryover, who is present.
Good morning,
Hello?
Shannon Fryover.
May I get a picture?
Ma'am, state your name for me, please.
Shannon Marie Fryover.
Thank you. Today is the day and time scheduled for PCC. Mr. Bernstein, how are we proceeding in this matter?
Your Honor, we do have a resolution. The prosecution sent me a plea form. If the court would indulge me a couple of moments, I've sent it to Ms. Fryover. I believe it needs her signature as well. And then I should have that back to the court within maybe like 10 minutes or so, and we can resolve this one.
Thank you. I'll put the matter on the side, and when you come back on, turn your screen on, and I'll recall the case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's under arrest.
How are you? I had a case of, once again, me being too trusty, paid somebody to do a job. They never do the job. I never received the product. Anyway, we settled.
We resolved it.
We resolved it. So I just wanted to get a picture of you sitting behind your desk, looking all judicial and everywhere in the world.
I know.
Yeah, everywhere.
I
in the
love your
world. Yes.
adventures.
Yeah, me too. But I love this for you because this is what you worked your whole life for, and this is what you campaigned for, and you won, and you're here. I'm just saying, how many years has it been that you've about 5 now?
5.
And I'm just now, but that's a good thing that I because when a person comes here, it's usually something negative. Not always. Well, for you, it's a paycheck. But when most,
It's not just a paycheck.
well, it's your career. It's your, it's your life. It's your life goals.
We talk about you all the time.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we haven't seen you.
I know. I've been working like crazy. And flying has dropped off because of everything that's going on in the airline industry. But I get paid whether it's one person on the plane or 200. So it dropping off. It's not great for the industry, but it's great for me because it's less work and the same amount of money.
I'm in the middle of a felony document. I'm sorry, but listen.
But I am gonna get it up close.
Would you please?
Yeah,
Oh,
when
no,
you get
not that.
And I'm gonna send one to Kevin.
What I want us to do is get together. I just am in the middle of a docket and I see that there's maybe an attorney ready.
Just come into the courtroom and start talking like
I do it all the time.
going on.
I don't, there's got me looking serious.
And I want one of you pounding.
I don't have one out in the courtroom because I don't use it. When people get even when people are in here, when people get rowdy, he takes care of them. I don't.
You had a gavel, then you wouldn't have a job.
She'd be hitting me in the head with.
We'll talk. It looks like there's still nothing ready. Jeez.
They're here. Their attorney told them to be here, so the attorney's here too. They were talking to Mohammed. So you want me to just bring him?
If they're ready, I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing.
Okay. All right, I'll go down.
Well, he's logged on. Mr. Gaines?
Hi, Judge.
Good afternoon, sir. My officer's on his way out to grab you and Miss Frederick.
Okay. Do I leave the meeting?
I'm sorry?
Do I leave the meeting?
Yes, please and thank you. Officer Bhaskar?
Yes, Judge.
What are you here for, sir?
I'm here for Timothy Lawson.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, sir.
On this one, I sent the fee to the court last week. I don't know if you guys
You sent it to who?
think Mary Ann.
Marianne?
Yeah, so I'm getting.
Mr. Mohammed is indicating that he emailed you a plea for DeAndre Gaines last week, 240626 FY.
Well, let me look.
Thank you, ma'am. They're in the courtroom. I'm gonna do a few other things. If you find that email, if you don't mind bringing it to me, please.
I will. Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Send it. Well,
Thank you, sir. This is.
thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Next time.
Okay. This is 5S44911424SI, State of Michigan versus Muhammad Abu Arabi.
Good morning, Your Honor. Rami Hijazi, P82830 on behalf of Abu Arabi.
Thank you, Mr. Hijazi. The court has received from the prosecutor indication that this pre-hearing should be adjourned for 1 week.
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecutor is requesting more time so he could review the police report and make a offer after that.
Thank you.
At 10 o'clock, Judge.
319 at 10 a.m. in number 2 in person with Judge Oakley. And then the other one was 5S44819294, State of Michigan versus Dura Sayuni.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning again. Rami Hijazi, P82830 on behalf of Sahuni. In this matter, Your Honor, I have presented a valid prescription. The prosecutor was satisfied with it and is willing to dismiss this matter completely.
The court has received an indication from the prosecutor that this case is to be dismissed, and it is in fact dismissed. Is there anything else this morning, sir?
Nothing else, Your Honor. We appreciate your time this morning.
Have a great day.
You as well.
Thank you. Ma'am, we're just waiting to locate the plea form that Mr. Mohammed said he sent over.
I'm still looking, Judge.
That's okay. My secretary's trying to print it out. You're welcome. This is 5S44888606ST, State of Michigan versus Sierra Broach. This case was scheduled for arraignment pretrial at
That's not it. That's for another 5.5 hours.
arraignment pretrial at 9 a.m. It's now 10:22 by this court's clock. Defendant has failed to appear. Matter will be set for show cause. Five is 4485506ST, State of Michigan versus DeMonte Dawkins. This case was scheduled for arraignment pretrial at 8:45 a.m. It's now 10:23 by this court's clock. Defendant has failed to appear. This matter will be set for show cause. Mr. Spear, were you starting to say something, so?
I'm trying to figure, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm trying to still figure out my Zoom thing. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I'm able to hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm just here, I guess.
No, listen, I understand. I see you. You've been waiting ever so patiently, same for Ms. Ryans. I see her attorneys
Yeah,
here.
okay,
I haven't
sure.
seen Mr. Nunley yet. Mr. Spear, you're good.
Okay.
We see you, just like
All
Mr.
right,
Page is
all
waiting
right.
for Mr. Nunley.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
might need to give Mr. Nunley a call. No worries. Give us a
All right,
minute.
thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
I apologize for my attire.
Why are you apologizing for being a working person?
Yeah, all right, well, because
Don't
usually I
don't
dress
ever
nice for
apologize.
court.
Don't ever
Okay.
apologize for that.
All right, yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you being on time and ready with
Yeah.
your camera on and ready to go.
Yeah.
What are you doing over there?
Very dangerous right now without me. It's worrying me.
Don't be anxious. We're fine. No, thank you.
All right.
We are so close.
Waiting for them to come in. Complete agreement.
I know.
And then she got another one for Zoom. Pull them up here.
We're trying. It is. Oh, this is Carrie Martin.
I think that means games. So
It is. The file. I have the file right here. I'm just waiting for. I'm trying to get taken care of whatever's ready, and I'm just missing attorneys. And I'm trying to get Mackenzie's ready. This is a recall, if you're ready, sir, of 241023 FD, State of Michigan versus Fryover.
Morning, Your Honor. Sam Bernstein with and on behalf of Ms. Fryover.
Good morning, Shannon Fryover.
Good morning again. Mr. Bernstein, have you had the opportunity to review the plea with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. We just emailed it to your staff, so hopefully it's there.
It will give Marianne a moment to pull it up, and if you are in fact entering a plea this morning, before you do, I want to disclose to you that I'm married to an elected official in Van Buren Township, and make that disclosure as Van Buren Township is the police agency involved in investigating this case. My husband is not involved in the day-to-day operations of the Public Safety Department. He doesn't know anything about this case. He doesn't even know that it's been scheduled. Are you still prepared to proceed with a plea in this matter? Or do you need a moment to discuss this information with your client?
I'm not worried about it at all, Your Honor. I think we're ready to proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
Give us one moment. It sounds like someone's coming in with the plea form. Oh. What the court has received is a signed agreement indicating that your client will be pleading guilty count 1, OWI second, and guilty to count 2 as it is open intoxicants in vehicle. Was that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Bernstein, in reading this plea form, it indicates that if I'm understanding this correctly, that Ms. Fryover may go into sobriety court. Was that your understanding?
Yeah, I think the plea offer is designed to give her a push into sobriety court, which she's definitely interested in doing.
Have you talked to this court, sobriety court? Have you reached out and had contact with Miss, I was gonna call her by her wrong name. Have you spoken to Shannon in the court's probation department?
We've been trying to reach her, Your Honor. We didn't really have like a ton of time to make it happen. I know Ms. Fryover has called a couple of times, but just hasn't had that conversation. Obviously the hope is that there's room and that she'd be accepted into the court.
I'm not trying to gum up your work, sir, but what we can do is reach out to Shannon right now and see if we can get her to jump on real quick or put you more in direct communication with her. I don't want to take the plea if she wants to. Sobriety court's an option. I'd rather her do the paperwork with Shannon, have her screening, and make sure she's a good fit. So we could put it out for, I don't know how long Shannon needs. Could put it out a little ways for you to complete that process. I'm not trying to force you into something. I'm just thinking, be sure she's eligible with this, with these,
Sure.
with the plea
would-
parameters of you and Mr. Mohammed.
That would be great, Your Honor. Yeah,
Thank you.
I have all day today if she's available or if the court would like us to come back.
I'm talking to give Marianne some time to call her, and we don't have anything else ready. And if we could get Ms. Fryover moving in the right direction, I'd rather do that than take a plea and have it not be able to hold together. Yes, Marianne.
I just sent you a chat.
Oh, boy. Be quiet and let me work. Oh, okay. She's not answering the phone, sir, but we have your appearance in the file. Unless you have any objection, what I'll do is let's put you over for a couple of weeks and get you back on the Zoom docket and make sure that Shannon has you have the time to talk to Shannon. Have you been using her? Oh, and she was out for a little bit too. So you had the perfect storm of why you couldn't reach her.
Got it.
So let's do this. Adjourn by, that put it on the parties, put it on me. Let's adjourn the PCC over to April the 2nd.
With Judge Patton, are you?
Yeah.
Yep, at 10:15.
At 10:15 by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton to Shannon for Ms. Fryover, did you verify your address and phone number with court staff this morning?
Yes.
Then, Mr. Bernstein, what we'll do is I'll send the file down after Marianne does what she does. We'll make sure that it gets to Shannon so Shannon knows to reach out to you, your client, and start down the path. And hopefully by the time you're scheduled to return on April the 2nd at 10:15 a.m., you have a thumbs up or thumbs down from Shannon. And then the specific negotiations regarding the specific plea would indicate that she's going into this court sobriety court.
I appreciate the assistance, Your Honor. Thank you.
No worries. Is there anything else this morning in this matter?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fryover, Ms. Nagy from the court's probation department will be in contact and communication with you and your attorney to get you screened for a sobriety court. Good luck to you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. I saw Mr. Nunley log on. I'm sorry.
I put him in with the prosecutor.
Thank you. And Ms. Frederick has not come back back from the hallway. I saw Mr. Tufelsky. And the plea form that you sent in is for Ms. Collins, whose plea we already took. So those things just need to be put together. We are so close. It's your fault. And you came in this morning and said what you said. I knew then. This is 250188 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Shamar Davis. This case was scheduled for pretrial at 9 a.m. It's now 10:33 by this court's clock. Defendant has failed to appear. Matter will be set for show cause. Are we ready? Okay. This is 240626 FY, State of Michigan versus DeAndre Gaines. May I have your appearances? Thank you, Ms. Frederick. Today is the day and time scheduled for PCC in this matter. The court has received a signed agreement indicating that Mr. Gaines will plead guilty to embezzlement $200, but more than $200, but less than $1,000 pursuant to, will plead guilty to the reduced charge of embezzlement $200 or more, but less than $1,000. 750.1743A. That he will be placed on 12 months of probation, complete a period of community service with full restitution of $5,483.73 due at sentencing and any other terms and conditions set by the court. Was that your understanding, Ms. Frederick? Thank you. Mr. Gaines, would you raise your hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. May I put your hand down? Sir, you've had the opportunity to discuss this case with your attorney. You understand the charges you face and the possible penalties. And after having that conversation, sir, is it your understanding and agreement that you'll be pleading guilty to count 1, embezzlement by an agent or trustee of $200 or more, but less than $1,000? Can you understand that if the court accepts your plea this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind? You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor. And sir, you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily? You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty? Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty? Sir, is it true that on November the 16th, 2023, in the city of Romulus, that you did, while serving as an employee for Amazon, convert to your own use and without consent of Amazon, a series of items that had a total value of between $200 and $1,000? Ms. Frederick, would you like to inquire further of your client? Mr. Gaines, the court will accept your plea of guilty to the amended count of embezzlement between $200 and $1,000. Ms. Frederick, what I would like to do is schedule this on the court sentencing docket because of the restitution that's due. What time period are you looking for that?
So, Your Honor, my client is now in the process of finding other employment. He does have the assistance of his family. However, on his own on account, I would ask that the court give him at least 7-8 months to get money paid because we're still trying to find employment.
Okay. Here's the thing. The agreement that is signed says full restitution at sentencing. I can't have a pled to an unsentenced case go out 7 or 8 months. What I can do is deviate a little bit and put him on our, let's say, our May docket, and he'll come back with a payment plan. Marianne, what day is probation in May, please?
Sure, 1 second.
Thank you. That will give him some time to work out a plan.
I just did want to rely on the assistance of his family to make an agreement like this.
I understand.
6 months. It's not workable.
Mr. Nelly, I'll be with you and your clients in just one moment.
May 5th, Judge.
May 5th? May 5th at 9 a.m.
Yes.
June 2nd? June 2nd at 9 a.m. in person or by Zoom? Do you have a preference?
I'm assuming I find it right, especially if he does find it done. Right?
Mr. Gaines, we'll set your sentencing for June 2nd, 2025, 9 a.m. back on Zoom with me, Judge Martin, in courtroom number 1. Court staff will mail notice of that date and time to you. At your sentencing, we will impose fines, costs, set the restitution, the period of probation, and the community service hours. But that gives you some time to regain employment and figure out a plan for the restitution, okay? Anything else, Ms. Frederick? Thank you. I'll see you in June, sir. Have a good day. Good luck to you. Who?
I'm not sure.
The exam in person with Ms. Woolfolk at 11:30?
Oh.
Yeah.
I get confused too. Yeah. Thank you.
He has been sitting here all morning. I'm sorry, Mr. Nunley, who are you ready with first, please?
I am ready with Mr. West.
This is 230713 SM, State of Michigan versus Norman West. May I have your appearances?
Good morning, Your Honor. Gregory Chud, the 85961 for the people.
And Royce Nunley appearing on behalf of the defendant. Mr. West, could you please state your full name for the record?
Norman West.
Thank you, Mr. West. Mr. Nunley, today is the day and time scheduled for final pretrial. How are we proceeding?
I believe that we do not have a victim here today, so we would be motioning to dismiss.
Your Honor, today being the date and time set for final trial, it's my understanding that the people may not have the participation of the complaining witness at trial, and at this time are unable to proceed to trial due to that. Due to the participation of the complaining witness, I'd have no objection to the motion to dismiss without prejudice.
Mr. West, your case is hereby dismissed. That dismissal is without prejudice. Is there anything else, Mr. Torres?
No, Your Honor, nothing further for the people.
Anything else, Mr. Nunley?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. West, you're free to go. You have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I do have one of my clients, Terry Cruz, who is up for today.
Mr. Nunley, I can barely hear you. I'm sorry, sir.
I'm sorry. One of my clients, Miss Terry Cruz, who is up for today at 10:30. She called me yesterday. She is in inpatient rehab right now. She does not have any capability to get on Zoom while she is in there. I told her that I would inform the court that
Give me 1 second, Mr. Nunley, so you can have your full record, and we'll put her over 241122 SD, State of Michigan versus Terry Cruz. Mr. Nunley, you were starting to say.
Yeah, Royce Nunley on behalf of the defendant. Ms. Cruz called me yesterday evening from an inpatient rehab facility. She informed me that she is unable to participate via Zoom while she is in the rehab facility. I told her that I would inform the court and ask if the court would be willing to give her an adjournment so that she can complete her treatment and come and participate in the future.
Do you have any projection of when she'll be able to access Zoom or appear in person for
That I do
the
not.
pretrial?
No, but I would say at least 30 days.
That would be April 9th at 9:15.
April 9th at 9:15. That will be in number 3 by Zoom with Judge Patton. And Mr. Nunley, when you follow up with your client, if that is not sufficient, reach out to Michelle.
Okay.
Was there anything else as it relates to Ms. Cruz?
No, thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is two. Thank you. This is 25BL001000A, B, and C. These are State of Michigan versus Leilani Aldrich. Your appearances, please.
Your Honor, respectfully, Sam Jadala, appearing on behalf of Ms. Aldridge. Ms. Aldridge, please say your name.
Leilani Aldrich.
Your Honor, change the date and time set for pretrial after speaking with the state prosecutor. Your Honor, on this, Mrs. Aldridge will be pleading to one count of allowing an unlicensed driver to drive. To no registration, no insurance are both being dismissed.
Thank you. Ms. Aldridge, would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may put your hand down. You've had the opportunity to discuss this case with Mr. Jadala, and you understand the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes.
And after having that conversation, thank you. You're okay. You're okay. And ma'am, after having that conversation with Mr. Jadala, is it your understanding and agreement that you will be entering a plea of guilty to allowing an unlicensed driver to drive and that the other two matters pending against you would be dismissed?
Yes.
And ma'am, you understand that if the court accepts your plea this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind?
Yes.
You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor?
Yes.
And ma'am, you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Is it true that on January 25th, 2025, in the city of Belleville, you allowed an unlicensed driver to drive?
Yes.
Satisfied, Mr. Jadala?
Satisfied, Your Honor.
Ma'am, the court accepts your plea of guilty to allowing an unlicensed driver to drive. The registration or plate violation and the lack of insurance will be dismissed. Is there anything before fines and costs are imposed in this matter, Mr. Jadala?
Your Honor, we just asked this court to impose minimal fines and costs. Her license is in fact valid, Your Honor. Also, she has valid registration and insurance that we've all provided to the prosecution.
Thank you. Ms. Aldridge, the court will impose the following. There is a fine of $100. There's cost of $100. There's $75 mandatory crime victims fee, $50 mandatory state cost, $20 fund fee. That's $345. Do you need more than 5 days to pay this amount?
Yes.
Then ma'am, I need you to contact the court's collections department. You'll do that in one of three ways. You may come in person and speak to someone in that department. You may call and speak to someone, or you can go onto the court's website. There's a contact us button. If you click on that button, the drop down will allow you to submit an email request for a payment plan. But do one of those things sooner rather than later. And unrelated to the cases you had scheduled this morning, you have another outstanding matter with this court where you owe money on a failure to display a license. When you set your payment plan for today's case, they'll be able to add the outstanding matters to it and make a single payment plan, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Aldridge, you're free to go. You have a great day. Good luck to you.
Me too.
Thank you. These are 5S44933384 A and B. These are State of Michigan versus Shamia Mixon. May I have your names for the record?
Your Honor, respectfully, Sam Jadala, appearing on behalf of Ms. Mixon. Ms. Mixon, please say your name for the record.
Samia Mixon.
Thank you. Today's the day and time scheduled for the arraignment pretrial and the pre-hearing in these matters. Mr. Jadala, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, for purposes of arraignment, we'd waive formal reading and stand mute. At this time, Your Honor, Ms. Mixon is prepared to avail herself to the plea, whereby she'll be pleading to an amended charge of allowing an unlicensed driver to drive, as well as a civil infraction responsible to impeding traffic.
Thank you.
You are now.
Ms. Mixon, raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. May I put your hand down? You had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Jadala this morning. You understand the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes.
And after having that conversation, is it your understanding and agreement that you'll be pleading responsible to impeding traffic and guilty to allowing an unlicensed driver to drive?
Yes.
You understand that if the court accepts your plea this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind?
Yes.
You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor.
Okay.
And ma'am, you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty and responsible?
No.
Are you pleading that way because you are in fact guilty and responsible?
Yes.
Is it true that on February 16, 2025, Michigan State Police found you in the city of Romulus allowing an unlicensed driver to drive?
Yes.
And is it true on that same date and time that you did something to impede or disrupt the orderly flow of traffic?
Yes.
Ma'am, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the amended count of allowing an unlicensed driver to drive and responsible to the amended count of impeding traffic. Is there anything before fines and costs are imposed, Mr. Jadala?
Your Honor, we just asked for minimal fines and costs. Ms. Mixon did appear today, Your Honor, with a valid permit, Your Honor, and she's on her way to getting a license.
Wonderful. Ms. Mixon, the court will impose the following on the misdemeanor allowing an unlicensed driver: $100 fine, $100 in costs, $75 mandatory crime victims fee, $50 mandatory state costs, and $20 fund fee. That's $345. The impeding traffic civil infraction is $180. That's $525 total. Do you need more than 5 days to pay that amount?
Yes.
And ma'am, I'll have you contact the court's collections department. You're able to do that in one of three ways. You may come in person and speak to someone, you may call and speak to someone, or you may go onto the court's website. There's a contact us button. If you click on the button, the drop down will allow you to submit an email request for a payment plan. But again, do one of those things sooner rather than later, okay?
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mixon. You're free to go. You have a great day. Good luck to you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. This is 4S4417223BST, State of Michigan versus Brittany Reed. May I have your names for the record, please?
Your Honor, respectfully, Sam Jadala, P62186, appearing on behalf of Ms. Reed. Ms. Reed, please say your name for the record.
Brittany Reed.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Today is the day and time scheduled for your arraignment and pretrial. Mr. Jadala, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, respectfully, at this time, after speaking with would waive formal reading and stand mute. After speaking with the state prosecutor, Your Honor, Ms. Reed would like to avail herself, whereby she'll be pleading to one count of allowing an unlicensed driver to drive.
Thank you. Ms. Reed, raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. You may put your hand down. You've had the opportunity to discuss this case with Mr. Jadala, and you understand the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes.
And after having that conversation, ma'am, is it your understanding and agreement that you will be entering a plea of guilty this morning to the amended count of allowing an unlicensed driver to drive?
Yes.
And you understand that if the court accepts your plea this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind?
Yes.
You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor?
Yes.
And ma'am, you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it true that on August the 14th, 2024, Michigan State Police found you in the city of Romulus allowing an unlicensed driver to drive?
Yes.
Satisfied, Mr. Jadala?
Satisfied, Your Honor.
Ma'am, the court accepts your plea of guilty to allowing an unlicensed driver to drive. Mr. Jadala, anything before fines and costs are imposed in this matter?
Your Honor, we just asked for minimal fines and costs. I believe a bond was posted by Ms. Reed. We just asked that be applied to fines and costs, Your Honor.
Absolutely. Ms. Reed, the court will impose the following. There is a fine of $100. There's cost of $100. There's $75 mandatory crime victims fee. There's $50 show cause fee, $50 warrant fee, $15 administrative fee, $50 mandatory state cost, $20 fund fee. That's $460. The court is able to apply the bond of $150 that you posted on February 28th, which leaves you a balance due in this matter of $310. Do you need more than 5 days to pay that amount?
Yes.
Then ma'am, I'll have you contact the court's collections department. You may do that in one of three ways. You may come in person and speak to someone. You may call and speak to someone, or you may go onto the court's website. There's a contact us button. If you click that button, the drop down will allow you to submit an email request for a payment plan. Whatever payment plan you set in this matter, court staff is able to combine it with your existing payment plan. Is there anything else in this case, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. That concludes this matter. Ma'am, you're free to go. You have a wonderful afternoon.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. This is 250120 SM, State of Michigan versus Timothy Lawson. May I have your names for the record, please?
Your Honor, respectfully, Samuel Jadala, P 62186, appearing on behalf of Mr. Lawson. Go ahead, Mr. Lawson, say your name for the record.
Timothy Lawson.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. And Mr. Jadala, Officer Moscar was here. Oh, he is here. I see him with the screen on. Today was the day and time scheduled for the final pretrial. How are we proceeding this morning?
Your Honor, after speaking with the state prosecutor, he lets me know that the victim's advocate has communicated to him that the complaining witness does not want to proceed. So we ask for dismissal on this matter.
Mr. Jadala, the court takes you at your word as an officer of the court that the complainant does not wish to proceed further in this matter. Will grant the request to dismiss the case. That dismissal is without prejudice. Is there anything else this morning, Mr. Jadala?
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Lawson, that concludes this matter, sir. You're free to go. You have a good day. Good luck to you.
Thank you. You too, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, officer.
Thank you, Judge.
This is 201094 SD, State of Michigan versus Harold Hathcock. May I have your appearance, please?
Your Honor, respectfully, Samuel Jadala, appearing on behalf of Mr. Hathcock. Your Honor, I believe the prosecutor wants to be heard on this matter. I told him that I would wait till he joined so we could make a record for this case, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Hathcock, we're going to pass this matter for a moment. When the prosecutor comes, I'll recall the matter. This is 25L0238990 A and B. These are State of Michigan versus Jetta Trucking. May I have your name for the record, please?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Wade McCann on behalf of Jetta Trucking.
Thank you, Mr. McCann. The court has received from the prosecutor indication that you have the authority from your client this morning to plead responsible to the A citation, which is an overweight with a fine of $4,925, and responsible to defective equipment with a fine of $140. Was that your understanding and agreement?
That is, Your Honor.
The court accepts your pleas of responsible on behalf of your client. And again, as to the overweight, we'll assess the fine of $4,925. As to the defective equipment, $140. That's $5,065. Does your client need more than 5 days to pay that amount?
No, I can have them pay within 5 days, Your Honor.
5 days to pay. We'll conclude this matter.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
You're very welcome, sir. This is 5S4477128SI, State of Michigan versus Darren McNeil. May I have your appearance, please?
Juan Losher on behalf of Darren McNeil.
Thank you. Today was the day and time scheduled for pre-hearing in this matter. The court has received from the prosecutor an indication that you have the authority to plead responsible on behalf of your client to this overweight citation with a fine of $238. Was that your understanding and agreement?
That is my understanding of the agreement, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court accepts your plea of responsible on behalf of your client. We'll assess the agreed upon $238. Does your client need more than 5 days to pay this amount?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long does your client need to pay $238?
I usually ask the court for 30 days.
30 days. Anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very
Have a
much.
good day.
You too.
Mary Ann, I'm stepping off for 1 second, but I'll be right back.
Hey.
I need a favor from you.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Ken. Would you ask Mohammed if he talked to Ms. Richards this morning?
Miss Richards?
Yeah. This is 200950 SD, State of Michigan versus Chantel Ryans. May I have your names for the record?
Judge, the attorney just asked to be put in a breakout room with her, so that I'm moving them around.
Oh, thank you. Ken just walked in the plea form. Mr. Spear looks like he's ready to pay fines and costs. I'm not sure what that's about.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm giving you a hard time, sir. It's
I'll
fine.
pay fine. Oh, don't do that. I'm not good at this.
Never a dull moment in courtroom one.
She's in an exam, but
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
we'll make it accurate.
Mary Ann, Officer Brooks just relayed to me that Ms. Richards is in an exam in another courtroom, but she'll come back for Ms. Jackson.
Got it. Thank you.
So we'll continue. Ms. Jackson, that's the updating information from your attorney. I see you. I know you're waiting patiently. I've seen her, your attorney, moving in and out with the prosecutor's office. When she comes back on, you'll be the first case I call, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jadala, were we?
We were just still waiting on state prosecutor just to just come in to make a
Oh,
record.
Mohammed is with Mr. Haycock.
Okay.
Okay. And it looks like Mr. Nunley is still in with Mr. Mohammed, so we will get back to this.
Notify Attorney Mohammed of the pending matter, so he should be coming out as soon as he can.
No worries, thank you. I know he has quite a long list of cases with Mr. Powers, so we're fine.
Ms. Richards is here, Judge.
Ms. Richards, do you need a moment with Ms. Jackson or are we ready? Oh, maybe not. Ms. Richards, do you need a moment with Ms. Jackson or are you ready?
A breakout, that would be great. Thank you.
You were breaking up. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I'm sorry, just like a breakout room, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll get you moved in with her. Mr. Powers, as soon as I receive the write-ups from the prosecutor, I'll start getting your cases called.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This is 250145 SD. This is State of Michigan versus Jaleesa Burks. This case was scheduled at 9:15 a.m. It's now 11:07 a.m. by this court's clock. I do not show Ms. Burks as having checked in. There is no one by that name in any of the court's breakout rooms. There is no one responding to that docket call. Defendant having failed to appear for this matter. Case will be set for show cause. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is 25L026862OI. This is State of Michigan versus Waste Management. May I have your appearance, sir?
Good morning, Your Honor. Sean Powers on behalf of Defendant Waste Management today, P42752.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. This case was scheduled for pre-hearing this morning. The court has received a report from the prosecutor that you have authority from your client to plead responsible to this overweight matter with fine of $1,883. Was that your understanding and agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does your client, the court accepts your plea of responsible on behalf of your client. Does your client need more than 5 days to pay this amount, sir?
May I have 30 days, Your Honor?
Mr. Powers, we've been over this. It's more like 14 days.
Okay, 14 days is fine, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. 14 days to pay.
Thank you.
There is also 25L026857A and B. These are State of Michigan versus Waste Management. I know your appearance, Mr. Powers. This report from the prosecutor indicates that you have authority from your client to enter a plea of responsible to the overweight with a fine of $4,298 and responsible to the defective axle, $140. Was that your understanding and agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, the court accepts your plea of responsible on behalf of your client, and to the A citation, the overweight assesses the agreed upon $4,298 And for the defective equipment, the agreed upon $140. That's a total of $4,438. 14 days to pay.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Two five L 023886 A and B, State of Michigan versus Waste Management. Again, the court knows Mr. Powers' appearance on behalf of the defendant in this matter. The court has received from the prosecutor an indication that you have the authority to plead responsible on behalf of your client to the A citation, which is overweight, with a fine of $2,520. And responsible to the defective equipment with a fine of $140. Was that your understanding and agreement, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
The court accepts your plea of responsible on behalf of your client to the overweight $2,520 and defective equipment $140 for a total of $2,660 with 14 days to pay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Last but not least is to two five L 023891 A, B, and C. State of Michigan versus Waste Management. The court notes your appearance on behalf of your client, Mr. Powers, and the indication from the prosecutor is that you have authority from your client to plead responsible to the overweight A citation with a fine of $2,629, responsible to the defective equipment with a fine of $200, and that the C second defective equipment would be dismissed. Was that your understanding and agreement?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Court accepts your pleas on behalf of your client, $2,629 for the overweight, $200 for the defective equipment, total of $2,829, 14 days to pay. Is there anything else on the court's docket this morning, Mr. Powers?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You have a great day. Thanks, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is a recall of 200950 SD, State of Michigan versus Chantel Ryans. May I have your appearances?
Good morning, Your Honor. Paul Tefelsky on behalf of Ms. Ryans.
State your name for me, please, ma'am.
Chantel Ryans.
Thank you. Today is a day and time scheduled for show cause, arraignment, and pretrial. How are we proceeding this morning?
Your Honor, I will waive the reading of the charges and ask the court enter a not guilty plea on my client's behalf. And then I did talk to the prosecutor and we have resolved the matter.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tefelsky, there was some disruption.
Okay, sorry, Your Honor. Did you hear me?
It's not you, it's something else. The court has received from the prosecutor the agreement that your client will plead guilty to operating while impaired and failing to report, and that the original operating while intoxicated and operating with high BAC would be dismissed, that the matter would be sent to probation for PSI, and that full restitution would be due to the victim in this case. Was that your understanding?
Yes, that restitution for any out-of-pocket expenses would be due. And And yes, everything else is correct.
Thank you. Ms. Ryans, would you raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. You may put your hand down. You've had the opportunity to discuss this case with your attorney, and you understand the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes.
And after having that conversation, is it your understanding and agreement that you will be entering a plea of guilty this morning to operating while impaired and guilty to failing to report an accident?
Yes.
And ma'am, you understand that if the court accepts your pleas this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind.
Yes.
You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor.
Yes.
And you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Ms. Ryans, is it true that on August the 24th, 2019, Michigan State Police found you in the city of Romulus and you were operating the motor vehicle while you were impaired by some intoxicant?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it also true on that date and time that you failed to report an accident?
Yes.
Mr. Tafowski, would you like to inquire further of your client?
Yes, Your Honor. Ma'am, prior to operating your vehicle on August 9th, or August 24th, 2019, had you consumed alcohol?
Yes.
And then did you operate your vehicle after consuming the alcohol?
Yes.
And do you agree that the alcohol you consumed impaired your ability to drive?
Yes.
And were you involved in an accident in Romulus on that date and time?
Yes.
And did you fail to immediately report that accident to the police?
Yes.
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ma'am, the court accepts your pleas of guilty to operating while impaired and failing to report an accident. Because this was your first appearance, the court had not set bond in this matter, but your bond is $5,000 personal. You don't need to post any money. But what you must do is continue to participate in these proceedings until this case is resolved in its entirety. Because of the allegations in the original complaint and the plea you just entered in this matter, condition of your bond is that you not purchase, possess, consume any alcoholic beverages until further order of the court. The court is referring the matter to the probation department for PSI, which is your interview, and the probation department will write a sentence recommendation, schedule you to appear by Zoom for sentence to be imposed in this matter. The court will also send a letter to the victim in this case for any request for out-of-pocket expenses that she's seeking or that they're seeking reimbursement from you. Mr. Tafowski, is there anything else in this matter?
Yes, Your Honor. One thing, this, like you said, the case happened in August of 2019. My client was an Ohio resident with an Ohio license at that time. She kept checking with the court for a couple of months and nothing came up. And so then she was transferred from her job to California, where she's lived for a few years, and then transferred to Kentucky recently. And she went into Kentucky to try to change her license, and found out that she had this case pending, and it put a hold on her ability to get a Kentucky license. And so she tried to pay when she found out about the case, she tried to pay the hold fees here, and the court would not allow her to do it. They told her she had to wait until she saw you. So we would ask that you would permit her to now pay those clearance fees, so that she can apply for her license in Kentucky, where she lives now.
Thank you, Mr. Tafowski. The court saw the bond receipts and the conversation with court staff made an indication in the file that those monies may be applied to clearance fees. Anything else?
And will that be done now, or does she have to wait until sentencing for that, Your Honor? Can she? take that.
I don't know
take care of
how
that.
instantaneous it is, but I put a note in there for them to do it now because sentencing won't be
Okay.
for until sometime in either early April or May.
All right, thank you very much, Judge. That's
You're
it.
very welcome. Anything else, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Ryans, you're free to go. I will see your sentencing. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Richards, were you ready with Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
She was here. She's, oh, sorry. 250-202 FD, State of Michigan versus Paris Jackson. May I have your appearance, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Neighborhood Defender Service of Detroit by Nancy Richards, P68850, appearing on behalf of Ms. Jackson, who is present via Zoom.
State your name for me, please, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor. Paris Jackson.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Richards, today was the day and time scheduled for PCC. How are we proceeding?
When I spoke to Mr. Mohammed, I did want to set a preliminary examination as he sent me the digital today. However, after talking with Ms. Jackson, I do think I should write to see if Ms. Jackson might be eligible for misdemeanor and sobriety court. So if the court would prefer me to PCC to do that, I could do that, or I'd ask for an exam date that's set a bit further out.
Have you been in contact with the court sobriety court yet?
No, Judge.
I think we put another case over till April the 2nd to allow time to be in contact and communication with the probation department.
That
I'm
would be
sorry.
a good date if the court wanted to do that. I have other cases there as well.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. April the 2nd at
10:15.
at 10:15. And we'll have Ms. Jackson and Ms. Richards be in contact with this court sobriety court to see if she is eligible for and able to be received into treatment court. And if so, when you appear with Judge Patton on April the 2nd at 10:15 a.m. by Zoom in number 3, you'll be in a better position to take that plea to.
Very well, thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Richards?
No, Your Honor, not in regards to Ms. Jackson.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson, thank you for your patience this morning. You have a wonderful afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. You said April the 2nd.
April the 2nd at 10:15. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. See you then.
Thank you.
Judge, I did have one more. I don't see my client on Zoom. Chandra Harris is her name.
210057 FY. This is State of Michigan versus Chandra Harris. This case was scheduled at 10:15. It is now 11:23 by this court's clock. Ms. Richards.
Your Honor, I did not have a phone number for Ms. Harris. So I have not been able to contact her. If the court would consider allowing an adjournment so that I can try to get in touch with her. But I do understand if the court would allow that.
I heard you, Ms. Richards. I'm just looking at the file to see the information that we have.
All right. Good to see you. I stopped in a couple of times. You always are. It's like you're my court date.
No, this case is already in warrant status. The court will leave it that way, Ms. Richards.
Okay.
I don't see a phone number in the files. The court couldn't help you in that regard, but
okay.
All we have is the same address that's on the ROA. So if your office is able to letter her and get her back to the court to
All right.
get this case moving forward.
I will do my best. I appreciate it, Judge.
Anything else this morning?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You.
Thank you. Mr. Mohammed, I saw you in there, and my apologies, but we have some earlier scheduled cases that I want to tend to before we get to the formal. Mr. Jadala indicated to the court in 201094 SD, State of Michigan versus Harold Haycock, that there was something that needed to go onto the record.
Yes, Judge. So in this case, defense has requested discovery multiple times, and I haven't been able to provide it largely because we have no discovery. There's no paper discovery in the system. There's no digital that I could locate. There's nothing I can send, and there's been multiple requests to the OIC to upload the paper discovery. And we have nothing. So I did inform defense of that, and as an officer of the court, I'm going to put it on the record because I think it's important. I don't believe it's fair to the defendant to have to keep coming to hearings and them not receive what they're here for. And that's just what I wanted to put on the record. And that's our position at this time.
And Your Honor.
Mr. Jadala, before you respond, Mr. Mohammed, the court thanks you for your honesty and candor regarding the lack of discovery available to the defense in this matter. Mr. Jadala.
And Your Honor, as the prosecutor so eloquently put it, Your Honor, we have made 3 requests for paper or digital or anything, Your Honor. And I've been in direct contact with Mr. Haycock over and over again. And our conversation solely consists of me telling him we're still waiting. Your Honor, when we were here last time, we put on the record that I would be allowed to make a motion to dismiss if they failed to comply with the discovery order, Your Honor, and we are currently making that motion to dismiss this matter.
Thank you. This case is hereby dismissed. The defense motion is granted. Mr. Haycock, that resolves this case. You're free to go. You have a great afternoon, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Mr. Mohammed, were you ready with Mr. Stewart, or were you still in conversation with him?
We were just wrapping up our discussion. I need like 30 seconds and then we'll come in.
Absolutely. Go back into the breakout room with him. I'll try to take care of Mr. Nunley's other pending matters.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Would you? Thanks. Put that basket back on that shelf for me, please.
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
The one file regarding Shannon, did you want her to see it before the next hearing? Or did you want to just?
The one with Mr. Bernstein?
Yes.
Yes, send that to her or communicate to her because he says he wasn't unable to get a hold of her. And I don't know how she wants to handle Miss Jackson.
Okay.
If that's because I want some movement on it. I don't want them to come back in 3 weeks and we're still in this. We don't know what's going on. Thank you. Mr. Carter.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You need to be on a device that allows you to see and be seen, or you need to be physically here in the court. Is there a reason why you're not on one of those types of devices?
I don't have a phone that's capable of that, ma'am. I'm kind of SOL when it comes to having anything left. The OWI kind of screwed me over, so I don't really have much. You know, I tried to show up today by just doing this. They said they'd just give me something to call in for it. Because the phone that I have, it's like so far behind, it won't even allow me to download anything.
Do you have transportation?
I do not.
Okay.
Okay.
When
I mean, I
Mr.
can
Nunley
find a
comes out,
ride.
sir, that's okay. I just wanted us to be on the same page. When Mr. Nunley comes out, I'll take up that with him, because if the case isn't resolved today, we need to have arrangements in place for you to be able to participate fully in this case, okay?
Okay.
You're fine. Sit there. Mr. Nunley will be out and I'll start calling these cases.
So am I still getting seen today?
You're fine. Yes, just sit tight for me.
Oh, okay, okay.
There's just no
know if you
defense,
were-
there's no defense attorney out here.
Oh, okay.
250161 SD. This is State of Michigan versus Rajesh Chaudhry. This case was scheduled for arraignment pretrial today at 10 a.m. It's now 11:32 by this court's clock. Defendant has failed to appear. Case will be set for show cause. Give me 1 minute, Mr. Mohammed.
Hey, I'm about to do
This is 250116 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Nathan Spear. May I have your appearances, please?
Royce Nunley appearing on behalf of the defendant, Nathan Spear. Nathan, could you unmute your video and state your name for the record?
Mr. Nunley, while Mr. Spear is working on that, how are we proceeding this morning?
We'll be asking the court to set it for a jury trial.
I wasn't aware of that.
This one isn't yours, Mohammed. This one is the DV.
A jury trial.
There we go.
There we go.
Have you been? Wait, Mr. Torres is here.
Yes, I see. it.
Yeah. Mr. Nunley, I would be looking at the week of February. I'm just gonna go back in time again. April the April the 21st.
Is that Easter Monday? You guys are open?
I said the week of, I'm not saying on Easter Day.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm looking at either trying to get Mr. Torres' attention. I just have to look at the other calendar.
Mhm.
Oh, no. It would have to be maybe May the 2nd, maybe?
My case right now.
May 2nd works for me.
Mr. Torres?
Uh-oh.
May the 2nd? Where's the I'm trying to get the APA's attention. It's not working. May the 2nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. for jurors, 8:30 for the parties. One, two, three. I'm sorry, give me 1 second, ma'am. April 11th would be the deadline to file your jury instructions, your witness list, your exhibit list. And Mary Ann, on April the 23rd,
Yes,
do you have time for a final pretrial for them?
yes, I do. 8:45.
8:45, Mr. Nunley, we'll use that as the plea cutoff. Jury trial May the 2nd at 9 a.m. for jurors, 8:30 for the parties. We'll dispose of any remaining pretrial issues. Jury witness and exhibit list will be due April 11th, 2025 by 3 p.m. Final pretrial, April 23rd, 8:45 a.m. That will be the plea cutoff. Mary Ann, I'll keep the file so I can write up a complete order to send out to the parties. Was there anything else, Mr. Nunley, in this matter?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spear, thank you for your extreme patience this morning.
Thank you, Your Honor. I got it.
Have a good day, sir.
You
Your
as well.
Honor,
Thank
Gregory Judge 85961. It's my understanding the court may have called the Spear matter while I was outside the courtroom.
I'm sorry, Mr. Torres. I called the case a few times. Mr. Nunley demanded a jury trial. The court scheduled that jury trial for May the 2nd at 9 a.m. for jurors, 8:30 for the parties. We'll take care of any remaining pretrial issues on that day at that time. Your witness, exhibit, and proposed jury instructions are due to the court by April the 11th at 3 p.m. Final pretrial plea cutoff will be on April the 23rd at 8:45 a.m. back here on Zoom with me in courtroom number 1. If the parties reach some agreement before then, my next criminal date is April the 16th. That's just more of a side. There's nothing scheduled on the 16th. I'm just letting you know. If you reach an agreement, I'd be available on that day. If there's nothing else, Mr. Spear is free to go.
Thank you. And I just wish to briefly place on the record that the people did extend an offer to plead to count 1 domestic violence second offense with a 1-year probationary sentence agreement. Terms and conditions to include no contact with Natalie Shaw, defendant to attend and complete battles intervention, defendant to end substance abuse evaluation and follow treatment as recommended, and defendant not to possess or purchase a firearm.
Thank you. Ms. Mandernack did forward that plea offer to the court.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
Nothing further.
Thank you. And I will note that Ms. Natalie Shaw is present and has been present for the entirety of these proceedings. That concludes this matter. Mr. Spear, you're free to go. You have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. You as well.
Thank you. 241105 SD, State of Michigan versus Decoris Harris Sampson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Royce Nunley appearing on behalf of the defendant, Cora Harris Sampson. please state your name for the record, Ms. Sampson.
Socorro Harris Sampson.
Thank you. Today is the day and time scheduled for pretrial in this matter. How are we proceeding, Mr. Nunley?
Ms. Sampson is going to avail herself of the offer tendered by the prosecutor, which would be plea guilty to the reduced charge of operating while intoxicated. And also he would be reducing the second charge to a no proof of insurance civil infraction.
Thank you. Ms. Harris, would you raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Ma'am, you've had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Nunley, and you understand the charges you face and the possible penalties.
Yes.
And after having that conversation, is it your understanding and agreement that you will be entering a plea of guilty to operating while intoxicated and responsible to no proof of insurance?
Yes.
And ma'am, you understand that if the court accepts your plea this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind?
Yes.
You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor?
Yes.
And ma'am, you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it true that on December 7th, 2024, Michigan State Police found you in Van Buren Township, at which time you were operating a motor vehicle on I-275 at or near Tyler Road, and you were operating with a blood alcohol content of 0.17 grams or more per 210 liters of breath?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it also true on that date, time, and location you were operating a motor vehicle with no proof of insurance?
Yes.
Mr. Nunley, would you like to inquire further of your client, sir?
I'm satisfied, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Harris Sampson, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the operating while intoxicated and responsible to the civil infraction of no proof of insurance. The court will refer the matter to the probation department. Mr. Grant, this court's probation officer will be in contact with you by phone and email. There will be a form for you to complete, an interview for you to submit to. Once you've had that interview with Mr. Grant, he will write a sentence recommendation and schedule you to return to this courtroom for a sentence to be imposed.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Mr. Nunley?
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Harris Sampson, that concludes this matter. I will see you at your sentencing date. Good luck to you. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Thank you. Two 50049 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Christopher Carter. May I have your names for the record?
Roy Stanley on behalf of the defendant. I have not had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Carter yet. I think
I'll call Mr. Page and then I'll send you in with Mr. Carter.
Okay, thank you.
This is 250091 SD. This is State of Michigan versus Frederick Page. May I have your names for the record?
Roy Stanley on behalf of the defendant. Mr. Page, please state your full name for the record. Unmute yourself, please.
Frederick Page.
Thank you, Mr. Page. Today is the day and time scheduled for pretrial. Mr. Nunley, how are we proceeding?
We are asking for another adjournment because we have not.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I don't know what that is. You're asking for what, sir?
Another adjournment. Mr. Page, you can mute yourself, please. We're just asking for another adjournment. We haven't received the videos yet.
How far out, Mr. Nunley?
I don't know. Mr. Mohammed emailed the officer in charge today about the video. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
The basis for the request for adjournment?
We have not received the videos in this matter yet.
You haven't received.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Page, mute yourself and stay muted. Thank you. Yeah, we haven't received the videos
Thank you.
It won't stop muting me.
You're fine. Just give me a second. We'll adjourn the pretrial over to April the 2nd, 2025 at
10:30.
10:30. That will be by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton with the indication that there's video outstanding. Was there anything else, Mr. Nunley? You're muted now.
On April 2nd, I will be in a deposition and I would be unable to attend that day.
9?
9, yeah, that works.
Same time, Judge.
February 9th. What is it with February today? April the 9th at 10:30 by Zoom in number 3 with Judge Patton. Court staff will mail notice of that date and time to Mr. Page.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, Mr. Page. You have a good day. Mr. Nunley, I'll see you when you come out with Mr. Carter.
Thank you.
Mr. Mohammed and Mr. Stewart, these are 5S4476178 A and B. These are State of Michigan versus Dominic Stewart. May I have your names for the record, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Mohammed on behalf of the people.
Hello, I am Dominique Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Today is a day and time scheduled for formal hearing in this matter. How are we proceeding?
Judge, the people are unable to move forward today. Trooper Armin Harbaugh was subpoenaed to appear. He's failed to appear for today's hearing. Also, I was informed by Mr. Stewart that this matter was previously scheduled for an informal hearing, and at that time, Trooper Harbaugh failed to appear as well. So I don't know if his position on it because I'm unable to get in touch with him. But as for today's hearing, we're unable to move forward at this time. If the defense is okay with it, I would request a 1-week adjournment.
Mr. Stewart?
I am requesting for the case to be dismissed. Because as stated, I had a court proceeding with him before and the officer didn't show. And this is my second time appearing to court regarding these situation, and the officer has failed to appear again. So I am requesting for it to be dismissed.
Mr. Mohammed, was there anything else this morning?
No, Judge, just the trooper was subpoenaed to appear and is not present. That's all I have.
I appreciate that, Mr. Mohammed. The prosecutor having indicated that the trooper was subpoenaed and failed to appear, case being scheduled at 11 o'clock, it being 11:48 by this court's clock, the court will grant the defense request to dismiss this matter. Is there anything else, Mr. Mohammed?
No, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Stewart?
No, that is all.
Mr. Stewart, you're free to go. You have a wonderful afternoon. Good luck to you.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Mr. I just saw. Ms. Woolfolk? Marianne, I think we're ready for exam.
I'm on my way out.
Thank you. We had one more. This is 250017 SM. This is State of Michigan versus Chad Williams. This case was scheduled at 9:15 a.m. It's now 11:50 a.m. by this court's clock. The defendant has failed to appear Matter will be set for show cause.
Mr. Tochor? Oh, man. Do you have a second to jump back into Zoom? I see you in the court there.
I can go back to the office.
Thank you.
I'm
He's
sorry.
on his way.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'll meet you in your breakout room.
Thank you and good morning, Judge.
You too, thank you.
Kenzie.
Are you ready for 11:30?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this one also going to Shannon? There's a note in.
It should,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Thank you.